The week Khamzat Chimaev walked into title week, something unusual happened. The old guard started speaking up, and it wasn't empty hype. Jon Jones, the guy many call the sport's grandmaster of problem solving, called out Chimaev's humility and character after being labeled the scariest by him years back. That exchange mattered, because it wasn't about marketing, it was about mindset. When a thinker like Jones publicly underlines your temperament before your first UFC title shot, it tells the locker room you're built for long nights and loud rooms. Rampage Jackson added his own blunt stamp, saying he'd seen the work and that Khamzat wasn't just strong, he was different. Praise like that travels. Fans hear it, opponents feel it. But that wasn't the whole story.
Well, it's hard for me to go against anybody that's training at Jackson. You know, you gotta respect, you know what I'm saying, the camaraderie. But Khamzat, he's always been a beast every time I've seen him fight. So I'm gonna go with Khamzat. I think he's gonna take it.
Which round?
I'm thinking around like the third round. I believe so. I believe so. I believe that he's the future champ. You know, he's really tough. You know what I'm saying? He's got excellent striking, and he's like laser focused. I believe he has what it takes to be the champion.
Dricus is going to try and find him. Can Chimaev stop that from happening? Maybe. Let's see. But I am going with the underdog. In the co-main event, I went with the underdog. And and the main event here with Dricus du Plessis, I'm going with the underdog.
UFC 319 lands in Chicago on August 16th, a stage with room for only one anthem by the end of the night. Dricus du Plessis arrives as champion because he stays noisy when the room goes quiet. Awkward entries, odd rhythms, and a strange efficiency that breaks men in minutes or bleeds them out over rounds. Khamzat shows up as the unbeaten hammer who face-cranked Robert Whittaker in a first-round finish that reminded everyone what happens when he gets two hands on you. That Abu Dhabi win was short, violent, and precise. The kind of performance that makes matchmakers move the furniture. The belt on the poster is Dricus's, but the pressure in the building belongs to the challenger, because unbeaten changes the temperature of a crowd. And yet, walking into hostile noise is where Dricus seems most at home. The calendar says August 16th, the skin says winter. Chicago likes a fight that hurts to watch, and what happens next would split the sport in two.
Says that you are the scariest guy in MMA.
That's a huge compliment coming from Khamzat. I'm a big fan of Khamzat. I don't think he has any reason to toot my horn or to even be humble. He doesn't have to be. I mean, heavyweights fear him, and the fact that he has so much respect for me really means a lot. It shows me a lot about his character, his humility to be able to compliment someone in such a huge way. So I'm very grateful and honored.
Will you watch his fight against DDP?
Absolutely. I absolutely watch this fight. I'm not rooting for anyone. I'm just a big fan of martial arts. I want to see them both go on and have long, prosperous MMA careers. I will watch the fight for sure.
But you cannot say who is the favorite, right?
No, I don't really have a favorite. You know, I just enjoy the sport. You know, may the best man win. I hope they both have great careers.
There's a reason people keep describing Khamzat's room as Avenger style. You can feel the energy in the footage. Arman Tsarukyan bouncing from drill to drill like a human metronome. TJ Dillashaw slipping into coach brain and tinkering with tempo, entries, and resets. Aaron Pico talking about the kind of rounds that leave hands heavy but eyes sharper. The room is crowded with accountability. Partners rotate in and out. The sound of a sprawl hits the mat like a door slam. If you believe the whispers from teammates, Khamzat's been chewing through multiple sparring partners per day. The kind of grind that forces autopilot reactions. That's the upside. The risk? When you build a tornado, you have to land it on schedule, overcook the storm in camp, and the sky clears early on fight night. The team knows it too. That's why the structure around Khamzat looks almost parental, guiding when to smash the gas, when to step off the throttle. Controlled chaos only wins if you actually control it. But that was only one corner of the map. Say the quiet part out loud. If Chimaev has a red flag, it's not technique, it's time. The tape shows early avalanches, not winter marathons. Michael Bisping's been crystal clear about this for months. Everyone loves the pressure, but late rounds are where confidence goes to beg for oxygen. That's the narrative Dricus is trying to weaponize. He's built a career on walking through ugly moments and turning fights into endurance math. If Khamzat sprints into a wall, Dricus is the guy who starts climbing it with him on his back. Still, the other side exists for a reason. When Khamzat's pace suffocates you, the clock stops being your friend. You stop shooting back and start negotiating with your lungs. If the challenger's camp managed to turn his first-round engine into a 3-round battery, the map flips. There's no secret sauce here. Either the gas holds or it doesn't. Chicago will keep the receipts, but that wasn't the only mind game at play. Fight Week gave us something rare. 2 men meeting in a hotel lobby and choosing to be civil. No cheap antagonism, no pretend scuffles, a handshake, a brief talk, back to work. For the crowd, that's boring. For a champion who feeds on turbulence, it's disarming. For a challenger known for blitzing souls, it's unsettling in its own way. Because when the noise fades, details get louder. Jon Jones's character comments landed here again. Khamzat's public humility isn't softness. It's a sign he's not leaking energy where it doesn't pay. Meanwhile, Dricus leaned into his own truth. He doesn't need theatrics to make you miserable. He brings a weird pace and a steady march, then asks if you can stand inside it without breaking form. Respect won't touch gloves when the bell rings, but it matters now. If you don't waste fuel on fake chaos, you can spend it on real violence, and the style clash guarantees plenty of that. If you wanted a clinic in contrasting blueprints, you built this main event. Khamzat's ideal night looks like a hallway fight. Straight lines, body locks, mat returns, wrists trapped, head bouncing off canvas like a drum. The ground and pound isn't always thunder. Sometimes it's wet cement, heavy enough to set around you while he looks for your neck. Dricus lives diagonally. He steps where your eyes aren't. He'll jab when his feet suggest a kick, and he'll swing when the jab felt obvious. He shows you wrong pictures until one of them becomes true. If Khamzat tracks him clean early, expect fence dents and panic scrambles. If Dricus keeps the exits open and layers jabs into calf kicks, he can postpone the storm long enough to force second-wind decisions. The uglier variable is damage tolerance. Dricus has eaten shots, adjusted, and kept the room hot. Khamzat rarely lets a fight develop long enough to need a plan C. If we see minute 14, that silence you hear won't be the crowd. It'll be the challenger thinking about breaths he's not getting back. But the predictions haven't been unanimous, and that tension is its own kind of fuel. Pros lined up on both sides. Some, like Mike Perry, lean Dricus because he turns chaos into later round math and refuses to go away. Others side with the Avalanche, pointing at what Khamzat did to Whitaker and asking a simple question. If he does that again, who survives the first 5 minutes? Even pundits are hedging with Khamzat early, Dricus late frameworks. The betting tables tug back and forth every time a new clip drops from camp. You can feel the room wanting an answer and the sport refusing to give it. That's why UFC 319's energy feels different. It's not just a belt fight, it's a referendum on 2 worldviews. Do you trust engineered violence that tries to end you before your coffee cools? Or do you trust a man who learned to win while looking wrong to everyone except the judges? Either way, someone is about to be very right in front of millions. But that still leaves the finish on the table. Here's the clean version. Scenario A, Khamzat tracks center, slices angles off the cage, and wraps Dricus like a winter coat. The first mat return sticks. Wrist ride pins, he opens a cut or finds the choke while the champion still has receipts to keep. That's a short night and a new era speech. Scenario B, Dricus spends the first 10 minutes kicking doors out of their frames. Frame-offs, short elbows, stubborn underhooks, and just enough offense to force breaks. By round 3, he's still there, still weird, and the fight becomes a cardio audition. That's where he turns the screws and walks a tired man into a late finish or a unanimous lesson. Scenario C, both men get what they want at different times, and we trade momentum like stock shares. If that happens, the belt changes hands on who wins minute 20, not minute 2. Chicago gets theater. You get an answer to a question people have been asking since the day Khamzat ragdolled his first UFC opponent. Can anyone survive the first storm and make him pay for it later? And Dricus gets to see whether the magic trick works on a man who doesn't believe in magic. Either way, don't blink when the horn sounds. The first exchange will tell you the ending if you know what you're looking for. A legend's respect tilted the spotlight. An unbeaten wrecking ball sharpened inside a room full of hitters. A champion walked in unbothered, promising to turn early panic into late punishment. One of them is right. If you want the post-fight breakdown and unseen angles from the back rooms, lock in now, because the story after the story is usually the wildest one.